All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to another exciting chapter of Tuppy Diggers. Are you ready to rock and roll, Miss Sharon?
Absolutely.
All right, boys and squirrels, without any further ado, let's get into chapter 9, entitled Baby Back. Gray construction block needed a little help. Small hands of a precocious 2-year-old pulled at it with curiosity. Just a little more and it will be mine. Keep plying at it. Yes, that's it. In the emergency room, voices swirled about how lucky I was. Could have been much worse. Big toe of my left foot took the brunt of the block
Oh
as it
no.
jumped from its lofty perch and met my fleshy nub. Just about severed it, they said.
Yikes.
Have no recollection of the event. Somehow my young brain had seen fit to strike it from my memory.
Well, thank goodness that would have hurt.
Perhaps that's for the best. I can only rely on witnesses that state this is how it went down. Two older brothers were the onlookers as I pulled the big gray construction block from a stack of its mates. They have proven to be stalwart supporters of straight talk on most occasions. Healing process stunted the growth of my left foot and kept it a full size smaller than the right. Footwear never fits proper, could have been much worse. Might have been a blockhead. What then? Standing on a vinyl covered sturdy wooden block the size of a shoebox in order that vertically challenged kids could be at the bathroom sink and brush teeth was a good idea. A simple step that did a good job at helping you see yourself in the mirror as you stabbed at teeth with awkward motor skills. Waited my turn as taller, older brothers deftly cleaned their canines and incisors. I stood on the movable block and leaned against the wall as I watched their talented hands dance with toothbrushes. Patiently waited, used my 4-year-old feet to slightly rock the block back and forth. Block shot out from underneath and left me lying on the bathroom floor.
Oh no.
Resultant knock to the noodle left a nice gash. Three brothers and fathers looked down at me as my heart did a first-rate job of pumping red liquid around the scene of the crime.
Yikes.
4 stitches.
Oh.
Into every child's life comes physical trauma. Some is self induced, other events are thrust upon the young recipient. Either way, lessons are imparted. When pain has departed, sometimes a scar serves as a reminder the world can pack a punch. Mary Beth Jill McGale came into the world of Lloydminster, Saskatchewan on a chilly November morning of 1964. A proud mother couldn't have been happier. Olga held her newborn triumphantly to the hospital window as her husband and 4 sons looked towards the third-story pane of glass and waved back at with enthusiasm from the road below. For close to 10 years, Mum had put up with the antics of 5 male counterparts. She was outgunned and outwienered. One husband, 4 boys, and 1 wife, not a proper balance. Couple that with Mum's special mix of genetics. Being reared in an old school, patriarch dominated world, she had developed her own approach to motherhood that was a direct reflection of her environment. Condensed to the simplicity of a sentence, boys should be hit and not heard.
Ooh.
For our part, we accepted this norm. Every action had an equal and opposite heavy handed reaction administered by Mum. Whatever series of factors that formed her upbringing were brought to bear on the 5 males in her life, angst was manifest. 1960 saw Mum enter the hospital with their fifth pending progeny. A stillborn boy named Benjamin Mark never saw the light of day.
Aw.
4 years passed, and Olga finally breathed a sigh of solace as her first daughter could provide her with comfort found only from mothering a girl. Rightly so. Mary Beth Jill McGale was the most beautiful baby any of us had ever seen. Perfectly proportioned, exact symmetry. We marveled at her doll-like features. All were in awe of the splendor she radiated. Her pleasant demeanor and happy face were evident from day one. A dark blue, crushed velvet baby dress festooned with white lace and a ribbon in her wispy hair, 1-year-old Mary Beth was the belle of any ball her beaming mother took her. No other baby came close to her beauty. Not kidding.
Really?
They might have well have been beaten with ugly sticks. No infant could hold a candle to her unrivaled loveliness. Take each homely toddler and kick them through the uprights, as those are the only points they're going to receive in this contest. Poor sods. Encouraging her to form words, we repeated her name and tried to eke a response. Mary Beth quickly became Buffy as she answered her first formed syllable of Beth.
Aw.
With all the males and her mother as doting caregivers, Buffy grew into a happy girl. She was pleasant to be around and enjoyed good health, save for the usual strength building rounds of a cold or occasional fever. Buffy was brought to the laundry and dry cleaning business that Mum and Dad operated, and let loose on the premises like the rest of us. Kids in a great whirring enterprise like a dry cleaner's can be entertained for an eternity, as there are no ends to the places little fingers can poke. With a few years of living under her pretty dresses, a curious 5-year-old explored her world. In a bathroom at the bottom of the back entrance stairs sat an extraction motor of industrial capacity. Powerful electric motor, the size of a gallon can, sat atop a metal drum that stood 3.5 feet tall. This motor always operated, sucked air from pieces of industrial equipment. Like many motors, there was a cooling slot in its casing that drew air to its inner workings. Said slot was just wide enough for the inquisitive finger of a kid.
Oh no.
That is what Buffy did.
No.
Stuck her left index finger into the vent of an industrial motor.
Oh, 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 oh.
Results were devastating. I wasn't there to witness it or the immediate aftermath, but I can imagine the trauma of Mum and Dad when screams and blood of Buffy's digit made themselves manifest.
Oh my goodness.
In hospital for days, Buffy received a number of surgical interventions on her finger to try and reconstruct the mangled mess.
Oh no.
A skin graft was taken from her upper thigh in an attempt to replace what the motor had taken.
Mm.
Finally home, with a finger wrapped in a mound of hospital gauze and surgical tape, Buffy put on a brave face as her curious finger stuck out like a sore thumb. Waited on hand and foot, it took months for the finger to gain enough confidence before it ventured into the germ-filled world without some form of protection. Left index would never be normal, nor bend properly, as a fair amount of damage could not be undone. Shorter than its right twin by 1/2 inch and possessing a tiny nail cocked to one side that is best described as super icky, Buffy recovered and adapted like most kids do, using the finger to scare other children by pulling it out of her nose and shrieking at the damage her caustic booger-infested nostril had inflicted on her finger were tricks she plied into service as she matured. Buffy's younger sister, by almost 2 years, was named after one of our faithful babysitters of years before. Sue Ellen Marlene McGale, better known as Susie, Marlene Dubik, was the stalwart sitter whose many virtues lent stock to her infant namesake. Susie didn't have the same baby beauty as Buffy, Nobody did. Facts were just that simple. However, Susie had a greater lust for life and an excitability that was contagious and engaged all. Conversely, Susie had a stubborn streak that served as a counter that could be played at a moment's notice. Amazing how a 1-year-old can reveal their genetic disposition with an honesty that their environment then seeks to modify, exaggerate, stunt, or encourage. While seeking to bring out Susie's boisterous laugh, I pushed her up and down the sidewalk outside of the Red House in Edmonton. She sat on a tricycle, and I, her 10-year-old brother, stood over her with one foot on the back axle. My hands held hers to the handlebars, used my free foot to propel us along the sidewalk. Susie bellowed with laughter, holding her legs away from the pedals that came close to clipping at her feet. Faster I pushed, the more she cackled with glee. Turned around to head back to the house, another hot pass, pumped furiously to build speed, which caused a little bobble of the handlebars.
Uh-oh.
Susie's right foot flopped towards the front wheel. Big toe made a ting as it caught between the fork and a sturdy spoke. Foot quickly bounced out from the force. Damage done. Toenail gone.
Oh no. Poor Susie.
Laughter gone.
Uh-huh.
Pain and screams the replacement.
Oh, for sure.
Seeing what I had done, I plucked a wailing Susie from the tricycle and ran her to the house. Mum heard the siren of her child and whisked Susie off to nearby Misericordia Hospital. Doing accidental harm to one of your little sisters you're in charge of protecting is more upsetting than can be imagined. I loved little Susie. Last thing you could ever want is to see someone dear to you in anguish, especially from an accident. Wishing I could take Susie's place in the hospital, I fretted the hours until Mum and daughter were back home. Susie, sedated and foot heavily wrapped, was finally home. Knew she would be back to her old self in a matter of days. Never pushed her on a tricycle again.
No kidding.
When a baby cries, it is their only means of telling you they are in discomfort. Unlike Lassie, who has a working vocabulary of barks and combinations thereof, coupled with a repertoire of body English that can easily convey the precise coordinates of where Timmy is precariously clinging to a cliff, including his relative state of mind, degree of hunger, and whether or not a rescue can be facilitated with the aid of a simple proffered stick, or if advanced rappelling paraphernalia is in order, a baby can just cry. Infants will let you know when their reason for crying has been nullified by simply not crying anymore. Reasons are usually basic. Boop, I'm hungry, damn it, feed me. I'm scared, what the hell was that bang? I'm uncomfortable, my arm is tucked behind my back and a bright light is shining in my eyes. I've got a fever and the only tranquil effects of half a child's aspirin will comfort me. Come on, get with the program. Late one Saturday afternoon, Susie started crying. I dutifully went through the checklist of possible problems. Didn't seem to be hungry as she kept spitting out whatever I threw into her cake hole. No leg folded behind her head. Susie was hot and red-faced, would not stop bawling.
Oh no.
Tried to make her swallow a crushed aspirin, no luck. Constant crying, 2 hours of this, and we were going out of our minds. Was about to bicycle to the hospital as Mum and Dad walked through the door. Mum took one look at Susie, and both parents hustled their wailing baby to the hospital. Numerous tests were run by a team of well-trained medical staff. Diagnosis: meningitis.
No.
Her brain and spinal cord were being attacked by a killer virus that had the power to fell its victim in a matter of hours, if not detected.
Oh, poor Susie.
Her brain was on fire. No wonder she screamed like a cat with its tail in a wringer. Days later, A much calmer Susie came home. We were relieved to see she was still with us and hadn't suffered any permanent brain damage, we think. Shaved sides of her head allowed adhesive electrodes to monitor her brain's function. New look didn't have many fans. Susie had the stubbornness to keep crying until results were obtained, instead of rolling over and sleeping into a new reality. Tana Jane Heather, a third and final daughter born to Peter and Olga, fall of 1970. Tana let her genetic characteristics speak for themselves at an early age. Aware that you are not supposed to pick favorites, which applies more from parents to offspring than intra sibling, Tana ingratiated herself to me on the strength of her even temperament and good natured disposition. Tana is a gentle soul. Each time I remind her of this, she reacts in precisely the way a gentle soul would. She emits a mild giggle and quietly says, "Oh, Monty." True to her nature, this is how Tana confronted numerous obstacles and conflicts that made up her early years of development. When faced with a troublesome person, Tana would frown and quietly, yet clearly, state to the bothersome ne'er do well, "You're an ass."
Oh no.
Then calmly go about her business, seeking to shun that person In the future. Others stomp and slam and kick holes in things. Tana looks her foe in the eye and calmly calls a spade a spade. Tana's even temperament in the distillation of many years' experimentation of our parents. When it came to the last of the line, they finally had it right. Tana Jane Heather McGale, gentle soul.